The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Danny Laurel. President Bongbong Marcos maintains he does not need to forgive those who revolted against his father, Ferdinand Marcos Sr. The president was asked whether he had forgiven the people who ousted his father and drove their family to exile in Hawaii after the fall of martial law in the Philippines. In response, President Marcos said he never took the ouster personally and believes that he and his family's critics simply had different points of view. The president was scheduled to attend some affairs in Hawaii after the APEC summit in San Francisco.
I never blamed them for it. That's the thing. That's how things happen. They don't need my forgiveness. If they want it, I'll give it to them. I don't need to. They don't need my forgiveness.
Investigations are underway for the fatal bus shooting in Nueva Ecija last week. Mon Gualvez has the details.
This man and woman were seated at the front seats of this bus traversing Caranglan, Nueva Ecija. The two were asleep when these two men walked down the aisle and told the driver that they are getting off the bus. But as they were beside the two passengers in front, the suspects drew out their gun and shot them dead. The crime is too brutal that our team decided not to show the actual shooting in full. The two victims died on the spot. The suspect shouted at the driver to open the doors.
Buksan mo! Buksan mo! Buksan mo! Buksan mo na! Ang tagal mo? Ayaw mo buksan? Buksan mo! Buksan mo!
Once the suspects got out of the bus, the driver sped off to report the incident. Inside, the other passengers can be heard crying. According to authorities, the victims are in a relationship but both already have respective families. They took the bus from Cauayan Isabela, headed for Tarlac. 3 hours into the trip, the suspects got on board in Mayumbong, Nueva Vizcaya. Another 2 hours passed before the shooting that eventually took place in Caranglan, Nueva Ecija. Witnesses said that once the gunmen got off the bus, they immediately headed to a nearby river and disappeared into the mountains. Authorities are now looking into why the victims chose to commute to Tarlac for a supposed jewelry deal when they both own private vehicles. Police said the two may be trying to avoid someone.
Well executed yung pagkakagawa nila, sinabayan nila sa sasakyan at saka bumaba sila doon sa lugar kung saan hindi sila madetect ng mga kapulisan. Lalong-lalo na doon sa sinasabi natin na parting may ilog.
The Nueva Ecija police continues its backtracking and profiling of the suspects. Authorities are also looking at the personal motive, and one of the possible persons of interest in the case is the woman victim's own child. A document obtained by News 5 showed that the victim filed cases against her own child for robbery and kidnapping. Her child was arrested but eventually released on bail. Her sister confirmed that their mother had also been receiving death threats. Another relative of the woman victim confirmed this conflict.
Simula nung galing na ng Canada, parang hindi na yata sila okay yung anak niya. Hindi sila nag-uusap, di ba? Ang pamilya kailangan nandun yung bonding, di ba? Hindi ko na nakikita yun.
The police continues its manhunt for the two gunmen. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. And you're still watching One News Now. I'm Dani Laurel. Climate change threatens coral reefs worldwide, but off the coast of Texas, the reefs seem to be thriving. More in this video by the Associated Press.
The first reaction I usually get is, there's a coral reef where? People don't expect to find a coral reef off the coast of Texas. They're located over 100 miles offshore and surrounded by a lot of deep water. And most coral reefs are right up near a coastline.
When ocean temperatures get warm, that is not good for coral reefs. Corals get stressed and then they turn white and bleach. And so when corals bleach and don't have enough time to recover because temperatures stay too warm, then corals die. And if you don't have corals, then you don't have a reef. And if you don't have a reef, then fish don't have a place to live. And if fish don't have a place to live, then that changes, fishery dynamics and changes what fishermen can catch. And then the whole ecosystem can change.
That way we can take healthy corals from one section of the reef, grow them out, and plant them back in an area that had a mortality event a few years ago. And that will be kind of the purpose of this lab, is to kind of safely keep these corals, try to grow them really quickly to then help rebuild the reefs.
Because coral reefs are declining all over the globe, when we find ones that are healthy, we want to keep them that way. And they kind of serve as the repositories for what could help restore some other reefs potentially in the future. So keeping these reefs healthy, and they've been monitored since 1989 continuously, but the first visits were, monitoring was done in the 1970s. We see that the condition is the same now as it was then. And so we want to keep it that way.
Now here's a quick look on other stories we are watching. The House of Representatives has donated 20 million pesos to earthquake victims following the 6.8 magnitude tremor that rocked Sarangani, Davao Occidental. The DSWD is also providing 1.5 billion pesos worth of food and non-food items to those affected. Over in UAAP men's basketball, the De La Salle Green Archers shot down their longtime rival, the Ateneo Blue Eagles, 72-69. Their second round sweep puts them in contention for a twice-to-beat advantage, which hinges on the outcome between NU and UP's game later today. And Miss Universe 2023 is now underway in El Salvador. All eyes are on Philippine bet Michelle D, who is determined to secure the country's 5th crown. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 10:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Dani Laurel. We are One News.